I feel like we need a new disclaimer for the end of this. I think we need something that any similarities between these characters and actual Grifball players from the league is completely coincidental. I will admit to mining some of our scenarios from the first two seasons of running the Grifball League. There were a lot of strong personalities in that for sure.
I was gonna say, watching these little series give me flashbacks to certain things like that, and I always wondered if you modeled them after particular commissioners, maybe. But yeah, speaking of the leagues, how many people in here actually play in the league? Yeah? Couple? Nice. Sorry, okay, we got a couple in here. Thank you guys. Yeah, I know y'all.
Well, that's a great sign. I mean, that's a sign of evolution right there, because when we first started doing this, I mean, most of the people who played it in the leagues. How many of you play it in the hopper, in the actual, wow. I mean, there you go right there.
Yeah, most people, it looks like. Well, in case you didn't know, there are Grifball leagues. They started out in Halo 3 because the only way to play Grifball was to do custom matches. And for most people, the double XP weekends just, they weren't enough. 72 hours, 94 hours, whatever, Grifball, I know for me, was never enough. So leagues existed so that people could play more Grifball. And the very first Grifball league was the one that Burnie mentioned earlier on Grifball.com. And Tex over here is an admin on that site, and he ran the entire last season, pretty much. And so Tex, why don't you talk a little bit about Grifball.com?
Well, Grifball.com houses the AGLA, which is the American Grifball League of America. No redundancy whatsoever, but it's the original league. It was originally 8 teams, am I correct? The original 8 tournament, and it's just grown over the years. A lot of legacy, because a lot of the people have been around since the original 8, which was 3 years ago, roughly, just about the 3-year mark. So we've been doing the league, well, I haven't been, but we've been doing the league for 3 years, and got a lot of those long tenure players in there that love to bicker a lot with each other. So it has the feeling of a sports league, I mean, you're going to have people going after each other, and people want to beat each other, and just breeds, higher play for some people, So that's the league. And right now, the signups are actually going on over at Grifball.com for the new league. If some of y'all want to play in the league, good stuff.
Make sure you're all going over there and sign up. And if you don't have a team, that's okay. We have a looking for a player or looking for a team thread, so you can just sign up as a free agent and get drafted onto a team if people are looking for one. And Tex, what are some of the benefits of playing in the league?
Some of the benefits is, well, I don't know if you consider it a benefit or not. It's 9 rounds as opposed to matchmaking 5. They are untimed. I think the record is over an hour for one game. Hour 16, so an hour and 16 minutes. And I don't know if y'all played, matchmaking just nonstop for a few hours, but an hour and 16-minute game, you have bathroom breaks you gotta go to, your hands are sweating. It's really awesome to be a part of something like that, like a 40-minute game, and then coming out on top or throwing your controller across the room when you lose. Sorry about that, Honcho. But I mean, it gives you a whole different perspective as opposed to just a little 5 minutes. You got a lot more commitment. You meet people who are committed to Grifball and actually taking an extra step in playing in the league and showing up for practices.
I think one of the best things about playing in a league is that, I mean, who in here goes into Grifball matchmaking by themselves? Yeah, and it sucks sometimes, right? Because you get spawn camped and you get teabagged and you get stat padded against, and it really sucks. Or it can, some people like that. But in the league, you have the chance to develop, you have your teammates, obviously, so you've just expanded your Grifball friends list by 3 or 4 or 5. And then you play against other teams, and so now you've doubled your Grifball friends list. And all of those teams have friends. And I mean, my friends list is full, and it's probably about 60 to 70% Grifballers. So pretty much anytime I want to go into matchmaking, I've got an entire list of people that I can go in, so I never have to go in with a team of less than 4, which makes Grifball a lot more enjoyable. So playing in the league, even if you don't want to take it super serious, even if you just go in there to have fun, totally encouraged. But it builds that Grifball friends list, which is so important because it makes the experience more fun, at least I think so. Now, as always, we always want more Grifball, because again, in Halo 3, the only way you could do it was in custom games. And so a second league was created because how the seasons work is it's 5 weeks, and then there's a week for makeup week, and then there's usually 5 to 6 weeks of playoffs. So usually around 10 to 11 weeks of Grifball, then there's 4 weeks off, and then you start again. So, I mean, if you make it all the way to the championship, there's 4 weeks off, and then you can play again. It doesn't sound that bad. Well, if your team really never ever makes it to the playoffs, like mine, we try, but that's about, that's like 10 weeks. That's about 9 to 10 weeks where you can't play Grifball in a league, which now, again, it's not as big of a deal, but it's a lot of downtime, and we actually lost a lot of players because of it.
We gotta get our fix, basically. We're addicts.
Yeah. So basically, the introduction of the second league allowed there to be more Grifball all the time, because as soon as the regular season ends for the AGLA, the GGL starts up. So that way, you can literally play League Grifball all the time. And Cal here is going to talk about the Grifball Hub Grifball League.
Yep. So the GGL, or the Good Games League, we run it on grifballhub.com. We run in the AGLA off-season, and then the AGLA runs in our off-season. So no matter what time it is during the year, there's always going to be a Grifball League just around the corner for you to join. The GGL runs very similarly to the AGLA in that we have a 5-week season and a makeup week, and then we have playoffs. The GGL, we are a little looser when it comes to who's on your roster. You can actually use guest players in the GGL, for example. So if you want to borrow someone from another team to play in your match, you can do that. We have a couple other additional things just to make it even more lolsy. We have achievables, for example, which allows every week we post a weekly challenge for your Grifball games, like get a yoink during the game, or assassinate the enemy bomb runner on your half of the court, or go through the whole game without using any health packs. And if you do those in the GGL, you get bonus points, and you can actually make the playoffs by having a good enough Griff score, even if you lose every game in the season. We've actually done that before,
yeah, we did.
where we lost every game but still made the playoffs because of the achievables.
Yeah, it was.
Go Grifball.
Yeah. We lost in the first round of the playoffs.
But we made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's important.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. So the GGL right now, we just wrapped up we're wrapping up our makeup week right now. The playoffs are going to start. The next season, the GGL is in May. But in the meantime, we have the official Grifball.com league just starting up now. So if you have a hankering for Grifball, you should join the AGLA. Sign-ups go for a whole week now. And then next season, you can start the GGL. That way you can get your year-round Grifball fix.
And who doesn't want Grifball year-round?
Exactly.
Which may seem a little antiquated now, because you just go into matchmaking, which I think is amazing.
You get all the perks in the league of getting to add to your friends list and being part of the Grifball community
Right.
on both sides and whole 9 yards.
If you do sign up for leagues, buy an extra controller.
Because you'll probably break one.
Very worse, I mean, the least you wear out your buttons pretty quickly, depending on your button setup.
Now, speaking of matchmaking, there are 2 variants in matchmaking. There is vanilla Grifball, and there is Grifball Evolved, or where you use evade. By clapping, how many people like vanilla Grifball best? And who likes Grifball Evolved best with evade? Louder, yes? Okay. Another thing about joining the leagues is that there's a 3rd variation. It's called Grifball Dash, which is when there's sprint and there's evade. During the highlight reel, you saw Cal's highlight where he did what we call a barrel roll, where he was able to pick up the bomb and roll with it twice and score.
That is the only way I can get into a highlight reel.
Pretty much. But it's not in matchmaking because Bungie did want to keep it simple. I mean, so many things changed from Halo 3 Grifball to Halo Reach Grifball. Anybody who's had to deal with the hammer, you know the range is different. It's completely weird. Jumping, launching, everything is completely different in Reach. So they wanted to keep it simple. So the transition would be easier. But playing Dash, I think, that's definitely my favorite version. I think it's a lot more hectic, it's a lot more fast-paced. So if you're interested in playing that, make sure you join one of the leagues.
There's a super awesome version, I don't know what it's called, but it has a golf ball.
Oh.
And somehow the bomb spawns with the golf ball, and like the golf ball hits you in the face all the time. So good.
You can get splatter medals in Grifball.
What is that one called?
It's called Hand Egg, and it was created by master map maker Run Knockyard Run, who pretty much did all of the maps for Halo 3, and he did many of them that you play in Reach. And basically what it is, it's a vanilla variant, so no armor abilities, but he figured out how to get the bomb to spawn on the golf ball, so every time you drop the bomb or you're killed, the bomb respawns wherever the golf ball is. So you've got people like chasing after Griff, trying to kill him, you've got people chasing the golf ball, trying to splatter people with it, and then you've got some really smart players who like lure people to their side of the court while the golf ball's on the other side of the court and then kill them, and then the bomb resets to on the opposite side and their runner picks it up and plants it. It's a lot of fun.
It allows full court passes with a bomb.
Yeah, it can be pretty embarrassing though if it gets done against you.
And this is one of the game types we're going to be looking into having in a matchmaking sometime in the next few months.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be updating that, as well as Jetpack Grifball. A lot of people have been asking for, Grifball jetpacks. So we have actually 2 different variants that we're going to try and get into matchmaking. So we're very, very excited about that. But as far as matchmaking in general, I still remember the day I got the email from Burnie, and he was like, "Hey, this is Bungie. Bungie, this is Grifball Hub. You two go and make a lovely little playlist together." And that was probably one of my favorite emails of all time. That was one of the most exciting things. And so yeah, the Grifball playlist that you guys play in matchmaking, the 3 of us up here, and Nuclear Taco right there, wave. Yes, Nuclear Taco 42. He is a master forger. Every single map that you guys see in matchmaking came through us, through our community. We did this huge call out to the community requesting maps. We've had over 150 submitted. We went through, Taco checked them, yeah, he's shaking his head right now. It's a nightmare for him. Went through, checked everything, spawns, health packs, everything. And then we had a voting process. We put it to the community. Let people vote on which game types they like the best, what maps they like the best. And then we submitted it to Bungie. We had this huge layout. It was 15 maps. Each map had like 2 or 3 different game variants. There were like 45 different variations. And then Bungie wrote us back and was like, "Pick 3." And we're like, okay. So then we narrowed it down to 3, and those were the 3 maps and game types that you guys had in the little 2-week, I don't know what you call it, primer?
Super Griff.
Yes, Super Griff. Everybody remember Super Griff? When you'd stab him in the back and he didn't die? Yeah, that wasn't on purpose. That was an accident.
Not us. It wasn't us.
It's no one's fault. Everything's happy.
Blame Stosh.
There you go. We'll blame him. So, and then after the 2-week, there was a week hiatus, and I don't know about you guys, but we were completely overrun with people. When's it coming back? Is it permanent? Bring it back. Why can't you guys make it stay permanent? Like, apparently we own Bungie or something, which we don't. We're no way affiliated.
We'll be signing autographs afterwards.
But then when they brought it back, it had all of the updated versions and the 2 new maps that were included because people wanted more variations of vanilla, and so we gave those to you. And hopefully there'll be an update coming pretty soon, which will include hopefully hand egg and jetpacks. So.
Yep, and we're always open to any suggestions from the community. I mean, of course, the maps and the game types were put to the community, and the community rigorously tested them, and several members of the community had some really good ideas and really good tweaks on how to make the game types even better. And so if there are any opinions, we're always open to them, and if you have a map that you would like to include, we'd be happy to take a look at it too. We're going to have instructions on Grifball Hub instructing you how to properly submit your map so it can get to Taco, and so Taco can take a look at it and see how it works.
And just to help Taco out, please don't put kill balls on your map, please. Especially in the middle of the court, it really kind of disrupts the flow of the game. If you really want to get your map into matchmaking, you've got to make sure it's clean. Like, no Z fighting, nothing like that, no kill balls, I cannot stress that enough. Yes, they're cool, but when you put them into matchmaking, there's lots of glitching, especially for split screeners, so Bungie just doesn't even allow it. Don't put stuff that juts out into the court, so when you're rolling or running that you hit it and you can't move. It's very annoying, and we'll force you to take it out. But be as creative as you want with like the designs. We have some really amazing, Knockyard actually, for hand egg, he created what he calls the hyperbaric chamber, and it's actually a perfectly cylindrical map like this. The floor is flat, but that way the ball can roll, the golf ball can actually roll like up to the ceiling and stuff like that and drop down and splatter you. So be as creative as you want. Like concave, it's not a flat map, it's curved. And, so be as creative as you want, but leave it clear, because nobody wants to, be sad and roll and get stuck and then die because of it.